Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Giss. I'm going to read you a story today. I wrote this story. It's about a cat that came into my yard, and the pictures in the book were made by my mom. She's a painter and she used to be a preschool teacher. So this is Maxine's tale. Let me get my glasses on. This is a true tale of Maxine's tale, written by Angie Gisselson, Mrs. Giss, and illustrations by Millie Johnson. That's my mom. Angie and Eric moved into their special gray house on the top of the hill in the spring. The flowers were blooming and the birds were singing and the trees in the woods around the house were budding. The house was special because it had been in Angie's family for many years. The young couple enjoyed watching the seasons change outside their window from their perch on top of the hill, and so did their kitty, Ginger. As summer arrived, their view became thick with the deep green of the trees surrounding the house. This first summer, Angie and Eric were eagerly awaiting the arrival of their first baby that would be born in the autumn. One warm summer evening, Angie looked out the window and saw a kitty sitting in the grass. It looked like any other calico kitty, except this kitty had an unusually bright orange nose and wore a bright pink collar. Angie and Eric wondered if they should try to catch the kitty and see if there was a tag on the collar. But the kitty wasn't skinny or dirty, so they decided that it probably lived in one of the houses at the bottom of the hill and had spent a happy day exploring the woods and would soon go home. But Angie was still concerned about the kitty, so that night she prayed, as always, for her baby, and she prayed for the kitty with the bright orange nose and the bright pink collar. The next day, there was a note on the door of the gray house on the hill. "Have you seen Maxine? She has a bright orange nose and wears a bright pink collar. We miss her and we love her. We live at the bottom of the hill, Scott and Deanne." Angie immediately called the number on the note and told them that Maxine had been outside their window just the night before. Scott and Deanne came right away and walked through the woods calling Maxine's name, but the kitty was nowhere to be found. Angie and Eric felt so bad about Maxine. Every day for a week, Angie put a bowl of food outside their window for Maxine. Sometimes she would go outside and call Maxine's name, but there was no sign of the kitty. Summer turned to fall, and Angie's tummy grew bigger. Outside the window, the greens of summer were now turning to the brilliant reds, yellows, and oranges of autumn. Angie often thought about Maxine and would look out the window with Ginger, hoping to see the kitty with the bright orange nose and the pink collar. One late October morning, a first dusting of snow was falling in the woods outside the house on the hill. All the leaves were gone now, and as Angie looked out the window, she could easily see the houses at the bottom of the hill. The baby was due any day now, and Angie's tummy was very big. Angie was resting in a chair watching the fresh snow fall when she heard the door open, followed by Eric exclaiming, "You are never going to believe what I found." Angie went to the door, and there was Eric, and in his arms was a very skinny, dirty kitty with a bright orange nose and a very scraggly pink collar. "Oh, Maxine, I have been watching for you and praying for you for so long," Angie whispered into the kitty's matted fur. Angie got the note from Scott and Deanne and called them. She was grateful she had saved the note. They could not believe Maxine had been found after all of this time. They came right away to get her, and Maxine seemed so happy to see them both. A few days later, there was another note on the door of the gray house on the hill. "Eric and Angie, thank you so much for helping us get Maxine back. Her tail was injured and had to be bandaged, but she is doing fine and is glad to be home. It seems like we're feeding her constantly. She is always hungry. It will take a while to fatten her up. It seems like a miracle that after 3 months she is home again. Again, we can't thank you enough, Scott and Deanne." 1 week later, Angie gave birth to their baby boy. The day she brought their baby Ben home from the hospital, it was snowing. When Angie, Eric, Ben, and Ginger looked out the window at the gray house on the hill, the woods were covered with a thick blanket of snow, as were the houses at the bottom of the hill. It was wonderful to know that Maxine was warm and cozy in one of those homes. When Angie and Eric laid their newborn baby in his cradle that night, they said a prayer of thanks for their precious baby, and they also thanked God for watching over Maxine. This is a Bible verse. "Not a single sparrow can fall to the ground without your Father knowing it. So don't be afraid. You are more valuable to God than a whole flock of sparrows." Matthew 10:29 through 31. And if you want to buy this book, moms and dads, you can email me at this email address. and I will find a way to get you the book. It's $20. All right, miss you, boys and girls.